What if I told you that the glass of orange juice you drink every morning, the one you believed was healthy and packed with vitamins, is actually causing your blood sugar to spike dramatically before you even leave the house? I know this sounds shocking, but stay with me for the next few minutes because what I'm about to share could completely transform how you manage your blood sugar, especially while you sleep. You see, there's a simple drink, one that costs almost nothing, that has been shown to help stabilize blood sugar levels throughout the night, allowing you to wake up with more balanced glucose readings than you've seen in years. But here's the part that nobody talks about. Most people over 60 are doing the exact opposite. They're drinking beverages before bed that sabotage their blood sugar, leading to those frustrating morning spikes that seem impossible to control. My name is Dr. Emily Hartwell, and I've spent over 25 years as an internal medicine specialist with a particular focus on metabolic health and diabetes management. In my practice, I've treated thousands of patients who came to me frustrated, confused, and desperate because they felt like they were doing everything right, but still couldn't get their blood sugar under control. And you know what I discovered? The problem wasn't their medication. It wasn't even their diet during the day. For many of them, the real issue was what they were drinking before bed, or more importantly, what they weren't drinking. Before we dive into this life-changing information, if you haven't subscribed to this channel yet, I highly recommend you hit that subscribe button and turn on the notification bell so you never miss another health tip made especially for you. And if you find this video helpful, please leave your suggestions and questions in the comments below. I read every single one, and it helps me create more videos to help more people just like you. Now, let me tell you about Mrs. Patricia Coleman, a 73-year-old retired school teacher from Portland, Oregon. Patricia came to see me about 2 years ago, absolutely devastated. She had been managing her type 2 diabetes for over 15 years. And despite being incredibly disciplined with her diet and taking her medication religiously, her fasting blood sugar readings every morning were consistently between 160 and 180 milligrams per deciliter. "Dr. Hartwell," she said to me, tears welling up in her eyes, "I don't understand what I'm doing wrong. I count every carbohydrate. I walk 30 minutes every day. I take my metformin exactly as prescribed. But every single morning my numbers are terrible, and my doctor keeps threatening to put me on insulin." When I asked Patricia to walk me through her entire day, including every single thing she ate and drank, something caught my attention. Every evening around 8 o'clock, Patricia would drink a large glass of orange juice because she believed it would give her a vitamin boost and help her sleep better. "But it's natural," she protested when I pointed this out. "It's fruit. How could that be bad?" Here's what Patricia didn't realize, and what millions of people over 60 still don't understand. A single glass of orange juice contains roughly 26 grams of sugar, which hits your bloodstream almost instantly because there's no fiber to slow down the absorption. When you drink that before bed, your blood sugar spikes dramatically, and then your body spends the entire night trying to bring it back down, often overshooting and creating a rebound effect that leaves you with elevated fasting glucose in the morning. This is what medical professionals call the Somogyi effect, or reactive hyperglycemia, and it's far more common than most people realize. But here's where it gets interesting. There's a drink that does the exact opposite. Instead of spiking your blood sugar before bed, this beverage actually helps stabilize it throughout the night, leading to better fasting readings in the morning. I'm talking about apple cider vinegar diluted in water. Now, before you click away thinking this is just another health fad, let me explain the science behind why this works so powerfully for blood sugar control. Apple cider vinegar contains acetic acid, which has been extensively studied for its effects on glucose metabolism. When you consume acetic acid before bed, it slows down gastric emptying, meaning food moves more slowly through your digestive system. This prevents those rapid blood sugar spikes that occur when nutrients are absorbed too quickly. But that's not all. Acetic acid also improves insulin sensitivity in your muscle and fat cells, which means your body becomes more efficient at using the insulin it produces. For people with type 2 diabetes or prediabetes, this is absolutely crucial because their primary problem is insulin resistance. Let me tell you about Mr. James Washington, a 68-year-old retired postal worker from Atlanta, Georgia. James had been pre-diabetic for 7 years when he first came to see me. His hemoglobin A1C was hovering around 6.3%, and his doctor had warned him that if he didn't make changes, he would be fully diabetic within 2 years. James was terrified. His father had died from complications of diabetes, and he had watched the disease slowly rob his father of his vision, his mobility, and eventually his life. "I don't want to end up like my dad," James told me during our first appointment. "I'll do whatever it takes." When I suggested adding diluted apple cider vinegar to his evening routine, James was skeptical. He had tried countless supplements and natural remedies over the years, and none of them had made any significant difference. But James was desperate, so he agreed to try it for 3 months. The recipe I gave him was simple: 2 tablespoons of raw, unfiltered apple cider vinegar mixed into 8 ounces of water, consumed about 30 minutes before bed. I also advised him to drink it through a straw to protect his tooth enamel, and to rinse his mouth with plain water afterward. When James came back for his 3-month follow-up, the results were remarkable. His fasting blood sugar, which had been averaging 118 milligrams per deciliter, had dropped to 94. His A1C had decreased from 6.3 to 5.9%, technically moving him out of the pre-diabetic range. "I couldn't believe it," James said. "I didn't change anything else about my routine. Same diet, same exercise, same everything. The only difference was that vinegar drink before bed." Now, I want to be very clear about something. Apple cider vinegar is not a cure for diabetes. It's not a replacement for medication, and it's not a magic solution that allows you to eat whatever you want. If you're taking diabetes medication, you should absolutely consult with your healthcare provider before adding apple cider vinegar to your routine, because combining it with certain medications could potentially cause your blood sugar to drop too low. But as a complementary strategy, as one tool in your overall blood sugar management toolkit, the evidence supporting apple cider vinegar is compelling. If you're still watching and finding this information valuable, drop a comment with the number 1 below to let me know you're with me. Your engagement helps this video reach more people who need to hear this message. Let me share another case that really illustrates the power of this simple intervention. Mrs. Helen Rodriguez, an 81-year-old grandmother from San Diego, California, had been struggling with her blood sugar for over 20 years. Unlike Patricia and James, Helen was already on insulin, taking 18 units of long-acting insulin every night before bed. Despite the insulin, Helen's morning blood sugar readings were wildly unpredictable, sometimes in the 140s, sometimes spiking up to 220 for no apparent reason. Her doctor kept adjusting her insulin dose, but nothing seemed to create consistency. When Helen's daughter brought her to see me for a second opinion, I noticed something interesting in Helen's food diary. Every evening, Helen drank a cup of warm milk with honey because she believed it helped her sleep. "My mother always gave me warm milk before bed," Helen explained. "It's comforting. It's been my routine for decades." I gently explained to Helen that while warm milk might be soothing, the combination of lactose in the milk and added honey was causing significant blood sugar spikes just before her long-acting insulin took effect. This was creating a metabolic tug-of-war throughout the night, which explained her inconsistent morning readings. I suggested replacing the warm milk and honey with diluted apple cider vinegar. Helen was resistant at first. She didn't like the taste, and she didn't want to give up a ritual that had brought her comfort for so many years. So we compromised. I showed Helen how to make the vinegar more palatable by adding a small amount of stevia and a squeeze of fresh lemon juice. It took some adjustment, but within a few weeks, Helen had adapted to her new evening routine. The results spoke for themselves. Within 6 weeks, Helen's morning blood sugar readings became remarkably consistent, averaging between 120 and 130 milligrams per deciliter. Her doctor was able to reduce her insulin dose from 18 units to 14 units without any loss of control. "I never thought something so simple could make such a difference," Helen told me at her follow-up appointment. I wish I had known about this years ago. Now, I want to talk about something that most people don't consider when thinking about blood sugar control: the role of sleep quality itself. You see, when your blood sugar fluctuates dramatically throughout the night, it disrupts your sleep architecture. You may not fully wake up, but your body is in a constant state of stress as it tries to regulate glucose levels. This prevents you from entering the deep, restorative stages of sleep that are essential for metabolic health. And here's the irony: poor sleep quality itself makes blood sugar control harder the next day. When you don't sleep well, your body produces more cortisol, which increases insulin resistance. You also tend to crave more sugary, high-carbohydrate foods because your brain is searching for quick energy to compensate for the lack of rest. It's a vicious cycle. High blood sugar disrupts sleep, poor sleep worsens blood sugar control, which disrupts sleep even further. Apple cider vinegar can help break this cycle by creating more stable blood sugar levels throughout the night, which in turn allows for more restful, restorative sleep. Let me tell you about Mr. Robert Chen, a 70-year-old former engineer from Seattle, Washington. Robert came to me complaining of extreme fatigue and brain fog that had been getting progressively worse over the past few years. His primary care doctor had run numerous tests, but couldn't find anything definitively wrong. When I reviewed Robert's lab work, I noticed that while his fasting blood sugar was only slightly elevated at 112 milligrams per deciliter, his postprandial glucose, the blood sugar measured 2 hours after eating, was consistently in the 170s and 180s. "Do you sleep well?" I asked Robert. He laughed bitterly. "I haven't slept well in years. I fall asleep fine, but I wake up at 3 in the morning every single night and can't get back to sleep. By morning, I feel like I haven't rested at all." This pattern, waking up in the early morning hours, is classic for nocturnal hypoglycemia, followed by a reactive blood sugar spike. Robert's body was essentially going through a blood sugar roller coaster every night while he tried to sleep. I put Robert on a comprehensive evening protocol. First, I had him eliminate all simple carbohydrates after 6 in the evening. Second, I introduced the apple cider vinegar drink 30 minutes before bed. Third, I suggested he eat a small serving of protein and healthy fat, like a handful of almonds, before his vinegar drink to provide steady fuel throughout the night. Within 3 weeks, Robert reported sleeping through the night for the first time in years. His morning fatigue dramatically improved, and the brain fog he had complained about began to lift. "I feel like I got 10 years of my life back," Robert told me. "I didn't realize how much those sleepless nights were affecting everything." If this information is resonating with you, I want to ask you something. Before watching this video, had you ever heard that orange juice could be sabotaging your blood sugar? Or that apple cider vinegar before bed could help stabilize it? Let me know in the comments because I'm genuinely curious about what health myths are still circulating out there. Now, let's talk about how to properly implement this strategy, because the details matter tremendously. First, not all apple cider vinegar is created equal. You want to use raw, unfiltered apple cider vinegar that contains what's called the mother, which is a colony of beneficial bacteria that forms during fermentation. This cloudy substance at the bottom of the bottle contains additional enzymes and probiotics that enhance the vinegar's health benefits. Second, never drink apple cider vinegar straight. The acidity can damage your tooth enamel and irritate your esophagus. Always dilute it in water, using a ratio of no more than 2 tablespoons of vinegar to 8 ounces of water. Third, drinking through a straw helps minimize contact between the acidic solution and your teeth. And always rinse your mouth with plain water afterward. Some of my patients also wait about 30 minutes before brushing their teeth, since the acid can temporarily soften enamel. Fourth, timing matters. Drinking the diluted vinegar about 30 minutes before bed gives it time to begin working before you fall asleep. If you drink it too early in the evening, the effects may diminish by the time your body's overnight glucose regulation kicks in. Let me share one more patient story that I think perfectly illustrates how these small changes can have enormous impacts. Mrs. Dorothy Thompson, a 75-year-old retired nurse from Boston, Massachusetts, had been managing type 2 diabetes for over a decade. As a former healthcare professional, Dorothy was extremely knowledgeable about her condition and took excellent care of herself. She monitored her blood sugar multiple times per day, followed a strict low glycemic diet, and exercised regularly. Despite all of this, Dorothy's morning blood sugar readings remained stubbornly elevated, usually in the 150s. Her doctor had suggested adding a second diabetes medication, but Dorothy was reluctant because she had experienced side effects from various medications in the past. When Dorothy came to me seeking alternatives, I was impressed by how diligently she had been managing her condition. She really was doing almost everything right. "Tell me about your evening routine," I said. "What do you typically drink after dinner?" Dorothy explained that she had herbal tea most evenings, but on nights when she felt she needed extra vitamins, she would drink a glass of commercial vegetable juice. I asked her to show me the brand. When I looked at the nutrition label, I found the culprit. One serving contained 14 grams of sugar, mostly from added fruit juices used to improve the taste. "But it says vegetable juice," Dorothy protested. "I never thought to check for sugar in vegetables." This is a common trap. Many commercially prepared healthy beverages are loaded with hidden sugars. Even products marketed as vegetable juices often contain significant amounts of fruit juice or added sweeteners to make them more palatable. I helped Dorothy redesign her evening routine. We replaced the commercial vegetable juice with the apple cider vinegar drink, and I showed her how to make her own vegetable broth if she wanted something warm and savory in the evenings. Within 2 months, Dorothy's fasting blood sugar had dropped from the 150s to the 120s. She was thrilled, and more importantly, she was able to continue managing her diabetes with her existing medication without adding another drug to her regimen. As a nurse, I thought I knew everything about diabetes management, Dorothy told me. But I never realized how much those evening beverages were affecting my morning numbers. It seems so obvious now. Now, I want to address some common questions and concerns that my patients raise about this approach. First, some people ask me if any type of vinegar will work, or if it has to be apple cider vinegar specifically. While other vinegars also contain acetic acid and may have similar effects, apple cider vinegar has been the most extensively studied for blood sugar control. Additionally, the raw, unfiltered variety contains beneficial compounds that you won't find in distilled white vinegar or other processed varieties. Second, people often ask how long it takes to see results. In my clinical experience, most patients begin noticing improvements in their fasting blood sugar within 2 to 4 weeks of consistent use. However, some people see changes more quickly, while others may need 6 to 8 weeks before significant improvements become apparent. Consistency is key. Third, some of my patients with acid reflux or gastroesophageal reflux disease worry that apple cider vinegar will make their symptoms worse. This is a valid concern. If you have significant reflux, you should start with a very small amount, perhaps just 1 teaspoon diluted in water, and gradually increase if you tolerate it well. Some people with reflux actually find that apple cider vinegar helps their symptoms by promoting proper stomach acid production, but others find it aggravates their condition. Listen to your body. Fourth, people ask me about potential interactions with medications. This is crucial. Apple cider vinegar can potentially interact with certain diabetes medications, blood pressure medications, and diuretics. It may enhance the blood sugar-lowering effect of insulin and sulfonylureas, potentially causing hypoglycemia. It may also affect potassium levels, which is particularly relevant for people taking certain heart and blood pressure medications. Always consult with your healthcare provider before adding apple cider vinegar to your routine if you take any medications. As we come to the end of our time together, I want to leave you with some key takeaways that I hope will serve you well on your health journey. First, question everything you've been told about healthy beverages. That glass of orange juice, that commercial vegetable juice, that sweet tea or soda. All of these are sending your blood sugar on a roller coaster ride, especially when consumed in the evening. Read labels carefully, and remember that sugar hides under many names: high fructose corn syrup, cane sugar, fruit juice concentrate, and dozens of others. Second, consider adding diluted apple cider vinegar to your evening routine. 2 tablespoons in 8 ounces of water, consumed 30 minutes before bed, may help stabilize your blood sugar throughout the night and improve your fasting readings in the morning. Remember to use raw, unfiltered vinegar with the mother. Drink through a straw and rinse your mouth afterward. Third, pay attention to the connection between blood sugar control and sleep quality. If you're waking up in the middle of the night, experiencing restless sleep, or feeling exhausted despite getting adequate hours in bed, unstable blood sugar could be the culprit. Addressing your evening nutrition may improve not just your glucose numbers, but your overall energy and quality of life. Fourth, and perhaps most importantly, remember that small changes can have enormous impacts. You don't need to overhaul your entire life to see improvements in your blood sugar. Sometimes, replacing one problematic beverage with a beneficial one is all it takes to break through a plateau that has frustrated you for years. I've seen this transformation happen countless times in my practice. Patients who felt hopeless about their blood sugar control, who believed they were destined for increasing medications and worsening health, have found renewed optimism through simple, sustainable changes to their evening routines. Of course, nothing I've shared today is meant to replace the advice of your personal healthcare provider. Everyone's situation is unique, and what works beautifully for one person may not be appropriate for another. Use this information as a starting point for conversations with your own doctor, and work together to find the approach that's right for your individual needs. If you found this video helpful, please take a moment to hit the like button and share it with someone you care about who might benefit from this information. Your support helps this channel reach more people who are searching for answers to their health challenges. And don't forget to subscribe if you haven't already, so you'll be notified when I release my next video. I have so much more to share with you about managing blood sugar, improving metabolic health, and living your best life as you age. Leave your questions and video suggestions in the comments below. I read every single one, and your feedback directly shapes the content I create. Together, we can build a community of informed, empowered individuals who take charge of their health and inspire others to do the same. But before I go, let me share one final story that truly captures the heart of what we've discussed today. Mr. William Foster, an 82-year-old retired accountant from Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, came to me as a last resort. William had been diabetic for over 30 years, and despite being on maximum doses of 2 oral medications plus insulin, his blood sugar seemed completely out of control. His morning readings were averaging over 200 milligrams per deciliter, and his A1C had crept up to 9.2%. William's wife, Margaret, had passed away 3 years earlier, and since then, he had been living alone and struggling to maintain the strict routines she had always helped him follow. His children lived in different states and could only visit occasionally. William felt isolated, overwhelmed, and increasingly hopeless about his health. "I've given up," William admitted to me during our first appointment. "I'm too old to change. My body is broken. I'm just waiting to see what complication gets me first, whether it's my kidneys, my heart, or my eyes." His resignation broke my heart, but I also saw something in William that told me he hadn't completely given up. The fact that he had made the appointment, that he was sitting in my office, told me there was still a part of him fighting for better health. We started small. I didn't ask William to overhaul his entire life. Instead, I asked him to make just one change: replace his evening glass of sweetened iced tea with diluted apple cider vinegar. "That's it?" William asked skeptically. "You think one little change is going to fix 30 years of diabetes?" "I think one little change is the first step," I replied. "Let's see what happens." William agreed to try it for 6 weeks. His daughter helped him set up a routine, calling him every evening to remind him about his vinegar drink and to chat for a few minutes. That daily connection, that simple accountability, turned out to be almost as valuable as the vinegar itself. When William returned for his follow-up, his fasting blood sugar had dropped from over 200 to 165 milligrams per deciliter. It wasn't a perfect number, but it was improvement. More importantly, William looked different. He seemed more alert, more engaged, more hopeful. "I've been sleeping better," he told me. "I didn't even realize how badly I was sleeping until it got better. And those phone calls with my daughter, they've been wonderful. She suggested I try a walking group at the senior center, and I've actually been going." Over the next 6 months, we continued to make small, incremental changes to William's routine. We adjusted his evening meal composition, added gentle morning walks, and worked with his primary care doctor to gradually reduce his medication doses as his numbers improved. At his 6-month follow-up, William's A1C had dropped from 9.2 to 7.4%. His fasting blood sugar was averaging 140 milligrams per deciliter. He had lost 12 pounds without trying, simply because better sleep and more stable blood sugar had reduced his cravings for sugary comfort foods. "You gave me my life back," William said, his eyes glistening with tears. "I thought I was done, but I had more good years left in me." William's story reminds me why I became a doctor in the first place. It's not about perfect numbers or textbook treatments. It's about meeting people where they are and helping them take that first small step toward better health. That's what I want for you, whoever you are watching this video right now. I want you to believe that improvement is possible, no matter your age, no matter how long you've struggled, no matter how many times you've tried and felt like you failed. Sometimes the most powerful changes are the simplest ones. Sometimes all it takes is replacing one glass of orange juice with something that works with your body instead of against it. You have more control over your health than you might believe. Your body has a remarkable capacity to heal and regulate itself when given the right support. And you deserve to wake up every morning feeling refreshed, energized, and confident in your blood sugar numbers. I truly hope this information serves you well. Remember, knowledge is power, but action is transformation. Take what you've learned today and put it into practice. Start tonight. Make that simple change and give your body the chance to show you what it can do. Until next time, take care of yourself, be kind to your body, and remember, it's never too late to make changes that can transform your health. This is Dr. Emily Hartwell, wishing you stable blood sugar, restful sleep, and vibrant health. This video is for educational purposes only and should not be considered medical advice. Always consult with your healthcare provider before making changes to your diet, medication, or health routine. If you are experiencing symptoms of diabetes or other health conditions, please seek professional medical evaluation.